This is the Big O Show. 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 This is
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Oh, I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
When presenting an award to an employee, athlete, executive, or fantasy GM, make sure you call Orvieto's Awards and More. For 35 years, these custom award specialists have been providing plaques, trophies, custom framing, while providing state-of-the-art laser and computerized engraving, UV printing, and glass crystal etching. They do all their engraving and printing in-house for quality control. Call Charles at 305-949-8098 or visit them at orvietosawards.com. Orvieto's Awards and More, where recognition is rewarding.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at Canes.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646. or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All righty. Good morning, boys and girls, or good evening, or good afternoon, or wherever you're at. You might be watching live. You might be watching pre-recorded at your own pleasure, which a lot of people do that, as always. Appreciate you all out there. Oh, man. All right. Interesting times. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty now, right? We got the play-in starting. We've got today the last game for the Panthers. We're a couple of days from the halving. What's going to happen? You know, I gotta address that too, because people have been asking me about what's going to happen with the halving and all that kind of stuff. And I'm gonna give it to you straight, because you know a lot of people tend not to be straight and kind of want to just take advantage of human beings and their emotions, you know, which is just very unfair how they do that kind of stuff. But we don't do that here. We just kind of just stay in reality. At least we try. You know what I'm saying? So we try, and we will explain that and many other things. Can't explain why the Marlins are the Marlins, you know. Well, maybe cheap. That might be the thing. We'll get into an interesting conversation about the Marlins, which I thought that was, you know, kind of funny. So we'll get to that. Got some stuff going on sports-wise around. Stuff that's a little off the beaten path, but it's kind of they're kind of interesting topics because there's misconception behind some of it. And then also the reality of another one that's very impressive and maybe in a way might be repeating itself. And it's two different sports, yet they kind of intertwine in a way in something, at least for the first time ever. Okay. But I'll explain that as the show goes on. We're expecting David Furones and Manny Navarro. So we'll talk a little Canes with Manny coming off the spring game and recruiting. And obviously now we'll have another wave of recruiting and all that good stuff. David Furones, Dolphins wise, there really isn't anything going on with the Dolphins. You know, they hit the off-season workouts, but there's really no news, but we'll get to it and we'll talk about it. Although some people like to create news, and we'll talk about that also, because they always love to create news where there is no news. So we'll make sure you know that there is no news, just in case they're trying to make news for you, because you know you got to be desperate for the clicks and again, reel you in, reel your emotions in, which is a beautiful thing. So a bunch of stuff to talk about. Sean Stanley, of course, the man, the myth, the legend that masters the entire platform every single day. Always appreciate him. Appreciate all of you tuning in. Remember, as always, you can support the show many ways, visiting our amazing sponsors like Acura of Pembroke Pines, where we were there last Friday, Caneswear, you name it. Of course, there's so many of our great sponsors that you can visit. You can also make a donation, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. Another way to send in your questions, comments, and insults and everything. And you can make a Bitcoin donation at Cash Big O Show on Cash App or Venmo. There's a dip now, so it's always good to make a donation on a dip. Of course, super chats also here on the chat board. Cosa Nostra, I see, is first in, and then Kyle Cockrell, Jamie Zorria out in San Jose, baby, reminding everybody to hit that like button. Steven Gonzalez, Jay Gelfin is in. Thank you, Jay. Joseph says, I sincerely hope that Butler and company have another magical run in them. You know, I in one of the headlines that we put out on the show that we posted, is that Jimmy Butler is holding Heat fans hostage in a strange place. Think about that, because it's what he does during the regular season the last 2 years is unacceptable by any standards when it comes to the Heat fans, you name it, right? None of us like seeing anybody like coast. You can't do that in your job. Just coast. You know what I'm saying? You know, Sean and I are like, we do whatever we want on this show, right? And sometimes we're like running late, but Sean and I will try to kill ourselves, won't we, Sean, to be on at 10, right? We'll do whatever, because we try to be, we try to set a time for you. So for those of you that like it live, and then when we change it, because we go to an afternoon show, we'll tell you it's at 3:00 and all that kind of stuff. And we try to stay as consistent as possible. We don't miss a lot of days. It's like, we're dedicated to our work, like you are too, to your job. But Jimmy isn't dedicated to his job during the regular season. That's why you've been, an AC the last couple of years. That's why you're in the play-in the last couple of years, because he doesn't give a shit about the regular season. Nobody's ever done that. But then when you get the end results of the last 4 years, it's hard to complain about it, right? You can complain. You can say, oh, man, I'm not happy about this because it's so obvious. Like I told Ira yesterday, I don't give a shit about their injuries, this, that, whatever. Bullshit. The reason why they're the 8th seed and they're not the 3rd or 2nd seed or 4th seed, because it was all close, it's because Jimmy didn't try. And now you would have won a couple of extra games if Jimmy tried. You and I know that. So he holds you hostage in this place because he brings it when it counts the most now. He used to do it all year. And then now the last 2 years, he's completely dialed it back and he just does it. Now you got to remember 4 years ago was a bubble. So it was a short year as it is. So there's only been one full year where he's really had to play the whole year. The last 2 years he has coasted, which would infuriate normally every fan and every fan base and say, I don't want this guy on my team at all. We're already getting there to that point for some people. But the problem is, if starting tomorrow, playoff Himmy shows up, then all of a sudden you're a willing hostage. You all of a sudden, what's that? Oh man, what's that thing? What's that called when they take you hostage and then you kind of become connected to the person that takes you hostage? It's something syndrome or something. Somebody help me out there, man. Oh God, Stockholm syndrome, Stockholm syndrome or something. I think it is. Somebody help me. Come on, man. There's got to be somebody out there. I think it's like Stockholm or something. It is Stockholm. Okay, right. Thank you. Hard to remember everything you're educated about, right? I mean, shit, dude. When you get to 57, I'm supposed to remember all the shit from 57 years ago? Anyway, Stockholm syndrome, right? So you get that. And that's the Heat Nation is walking around with Stockholm syndrome. We should all have a Heat jersey that say Stockholm in the back, because it's never been done. We're going through something that we've never experienced before. No one's ever done it. You know what I'm saying? It's like being married to a fine-ass woman. Okay? You get home, dishes aren't done, house is a mess. Kids running around. There's a diaper over there. She's on her phone doing her nails. But then when it comes to nighttime and you go to bed, you get the best sex of your life. And you're like, all right, she's fine. I'm getting some awesome sex. well, she doesn't clean the house. She doesn't do, she's not really good as a, but I'll deal with it. It's all good because the finish line is pretty fun. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of where we're in right now. I don't know if I could pick a better analogy than that, but it's kind of what I came up with. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of one of those things. The babe is useful for a couple things. She looks good and she performs well. In the room. Everywhere else, she's kind of a disaster. She doesn't pay the bills. She doesn't help you anywhere. Okay? She can't even fill the tank of gas. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that. So we're all Stockholm now. And we're hanging out. And we basically, and here's the, I was on with a bunch of Heat guys yesterday. And I was joking around, which it's really serious, actually, pretty much. That if Jimmy does this shit again, right, where playoff Himmy shows up, and somehow you make this magical run to the Eastern Conference Finals, to the finals again, that kind of shit. You don't even have to get to the finals. You get to the Eastern Conference Finals with this team. Oh my God, it's another great feat. Come on. Let's get honest. So if that happens, right, we're all going to just shut up and say, well, okay, next year we'll just, hey, listen, it was nice to see you, wasn't it? Yeah, it was great. All right. Same time next year, April 2025. I'll see you there. All right. Take it easy, Miro. Take it easy. And that's it. You're just like, just leave. Don't worry about the off season, which is fun for basketball, but don't worry about the preseason. Don't worry about the regular season. Just come back in April next year. Because why are you going to torture yourself? Right? Why are you going to watch the regular season, which, the star doesn't care about, but he only cares about the postseason. So if he does it again, then obviously, those that doubted, you're wrong. Okay, I'm wrong. I'm happily wrong. Fine. But don't expect me to tune in at all next year. At all. I'm not even going to bother with the regular season next year with the Miami Heat. Not even going to bother. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not even worth it. Because, you've kind of made it a complete joke already at this point. You're not earning anything. You're not trying, So why am I going to try to watch? So I'm going to be, I'll be Stockholm, but I'll be like sleeping. That's what I'll try to do. I'll try to sleep as much during my kidnap time with Jimmy Butler till April of 2025 again. Wake me up in April of 2025 for the Heat season. Because the Heat season doesn't mean shit any other time of the year anymore. Because it just, so this will be interesting to see what happens, because it goes another way too. If he doesn't perform, then they say, all right, it's over now. You see, now you can't pull that shit off anymore. You're not good enough. You did that. You got away with it in the bubble. You got away with it last year. Now you're not getting away with it anymore. So then that's when we break from hostage, and we no longer are Stockholm, and we get saved. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be interesting to see how we end up here. Will Jimmy pull this shit off again starting tomorrow? We'll find out. We will find out. All right. Had to get that off my chest. Any thoughts on Cam Kitchen, Taula Tagovailoa, and what direction you think Greer should go in the first round? Lineman is what I'm going in the first round. And what's the deal with Tua's brother? I don't know. Why would I want to be talking about Tua's brother? I'm not sure. Do you know? Is there some news or something with Tua's brother I'm missing? I love Cam Kitchens, don't get me wrong. I think he's a hell of a player. That's for sure. Let's see. PJ Moreland, the number one prospect in the nation, All-American draft MLB tank for PJ. Lewis, please, bro. It's the Marlins. Who gives a shit, dude? They don't pay for anybody. They don't keep anybody around, Lewis. So who gives a shit? Why are you wasting your time? Gus 1388. Willie is out in Colombia. Happy Tuesday. Eric Simon. Ray. I would like Greer to trade down, pick up an extra pick or two, still get an O lineman or D lineman lower in the first round. That could happen. That could happen. Gordon Shumway. Lisa Rose. Giovanni out is in Western Carolina checking in. That's right. I like Western Carolina more than Eastern Carolina. That's right. That's where I would live if I would go to the Carolinas. Boone. What's the place? Is it Hendersonville? Just south of Boone? Is it called Hendersonville or something like that? Really nice town. I've looked into it. I think it's Hendersonville. You can correct me there, Giovanni. Or if Pat is watching, but it's something like that. It's another place that I've looked at because it's south of it, if I'm correct. If I remember the map. Let's see what else. The Boone area is really, really, really nice. Frankie Fresco, speedy recovery for Rita Ripley. Jonathan Cagle, Rick DeMann, J-Town. Boy, there's going to be a rip job of the ages if Jimmy doesn't produce in the playoffs. Yeah, I don't know if it's a rip job. I think it's a frustration rant. Okay? Because you can't rip Jimmy, right? Because he, as I was telling the guys last night, Jimmy earned all of this already. Jimmy manufactured himself to get to this point in his career to be a star. He's got commercials left and right. He's cashing in on his name. He is milking this ride all the way to the end like any intelligent human being would do. Okay? He doesn't have LeBron's talent. He doesn't have Wade's talent. He doesn't have Shaq's talent. He's not that kind of star. Okay? Stars, but he is a guy that has manufactured himself to be a number 2 type of star. He's one here, but really. And at the same time, he's got the charisma to be able to win people over in these kind of situations. That's why he's getting all these gigs. So you have to understand that this guy worked himself from being just a defensive player when he got drafted in Chicago to then becoming a better offensive player to getting to an all-star, to even getting to franchise star status. And so it's hard for you when he's taking you to 3 Eastern Conference finals and 2 finals in 4 years. You can't rip him. You can't. You can't, because none of us even expected what he did. But you are frustrated now with the direction it's going. Because unfortunately, your anger, your frustration is not all Jimmy. It's also Pat Riley. It's the front office that they failed to get the other star, that they failed to listen to Jimmy and bring Kyle Lowry. Now, partially that's also Riley's fault because he always was enamored with Lowry. The problem is that when they made this decision, it was too late. That's not the Lowry you wanted. You wanted the Lowry 8, 9, 10 years ago. That's the Lowry you wanted, not this Lowry. And that's where you effed up. And so you didn't find the other star. And Jimmy could not recruit a star, which was another false narrative that was out there by many people that, oh, no, Jimmy will be able to recruit. No, people will come to want to play with Jimmy. No, nobody came and want. I don't understand it because he's the perfect number 2 for any number 1 because he's not going to hog the ball. He's going to share it. He shares it with the lesser players. You think he's not going to share it with another star that he respects? Of course he would. But he could never recruit somebody else. For whatever reason, it never happened. So our frustrations and our anger is not really directed totally at Jimmy. He did everything he could. And now he's just saving whatever gas he has left in the tank for the postseason. Because he cannot even do it in the regular season on a consistent basis for even any stretches. He proved that this year. He could not be playoff Jimmy at no stretch in the regular season. He had a couple of performances, but he never did it for weeks and a month or like you really needed here in March and April. In March and April, you could have ended up in a top 4 seed. But Jimmy Butler didn't give a shit. So it's a lot of frustrations because you can't totally rip Jimmy. You can't really rip the organization. You can't really rip Riley. You can be frustrated because we're so spoiled that the Eastern Conference Finals 3 out of 4 years and the Finals twice, it's just not enough for us. It would be fucking parades in Orlando. It would be fucking parades in Charlotte. It would be fucking parades in Washington, D.C., but here in Miami, where they hang actual banners, world championship banners, we are above Eastern Conference and just getting to the finals. So we need to dial that part back. And it's not really that, it's just our frustrations. Can't really rip the player. The player did. Can you really ask for any more from Jimmy? Again, that's what we do here. We look in the mirror and we tell you the brutal honesty. We really can't ask any more from Jimmy. The only thing you could have hoped for that he was a better recruiter to get a real star here. And as a GM, he sucked because he gave us Kyle Lowry. Okay? But outside of that, Jimmy did everything he possibly could, including carrying Kyle Lowry's sorry ass to the finals last year. It's frustrations, folks, that we know we were right there to the finish line, and Pat Riley and company could not get that second star. That's our frustrations. Our real frustrations are that we were so close and we could not get the piece needed. You know what it takes. You had a championship caliber team back in the 2000s. And there was a guy named Michael Jordan that stopped Zoe and Hardaway and company getting a title, stopped the Knicks, stopped the Pacers, stopped the Cavs, stopped the Jazz. Those of you that lived it in the late 90s and early 2000s, you know what I'm talking about, right? So, pretty much, did it get to the 2000s? No, it was like in the late 90s. That's what it was. Mid to late 90s, right? That's what it was. So he got in the way of those teams that were loaded. Man, when they added Eddie Jones and Brian Grant to be on the bench of a super, super deep team, but it's just, you had Michael Jordan in the way. And then you had Olajuwon for 2 years. Crap, dude. It sucked. Then you wanted with Shaq and Wade. You had your superstar in Wade and Shaq, and should have won 2 of them if they were healthy the first year when Shaq was really playing. And then you won it twice when you had the big 3. So we know what it takes. It takes multiple stars. If you don't have multiple stars, it's just not going to happen. And Miami has never gotten that multiple star. That second star, they never found him. I know some of you wanted to manufacture Bam Adebayo, but I think your lesson has been learned already on that one. He's a number 3, which there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the guy that fails as a head coach and is a phenomenal offensive or defensive coordinator. Nothing wrong with that, dude. Okay? In fact, I have no problem putting certain offensive and defensive coordinators in the Hall of Fame. That's how much respect I have for assistant coaches at times. So sometimes you can't get by with that. Do I want really Buddy Ryan as my head coach? No. But I do want him as my defensive coordinator. So nothing wrong with that. But that's our problem here. We're not used to being the bridesmaid. It's not our thing. Yeah, nah. No, we're not going to be a groomsman. Nah, we'll be the groom. You know? Yeah, we could play the violin, tuba, cello, whatever. Nah, we'll conduct. It's what we're used to. It's what we're spoiled with. And so that's really what all of this is about. It's going to come out of a frustration that we were so close and yet so far. Mars adore you. All right. Anyways. Oh, let's see. GM all. Let's go Cats. Last game of the season. I'm not even going to watch tonight. I'm not even going to bother to watch tonight. I'm going to pick some shows, movies, YouTube concerts, something, but I'm not even watching tonight because they're going to play all their backups, and screw that, dude. The game means nothing. I'm not even watching tonight. Big O, it's going to get harder and harder for Jimmy to turn it on as he keeps aging. Best sports talker on. Thank you, Vinny. That's what you think, right, Vinny? That's what I think. But the guy proves us wrong, so, you know, we can't do shit, dude. We have to just sit and take it until he can't prove it anymore. And that's it. And then we're like, okay, rubber meets the road. Let's go. It's over now. You know, we've come to a fork in the road. You know, we can come up with all the cliches. And then time to turn the page. Can't live like this anymore. But if he does it again, what choice do you have? What choice does Pat Riley have? Spo, Mickey, they're at his disposal. The money's guaranteed. He's untradeable because nobody can handle that. Remember, you're not going to, somebody asked me yesterday about trading him. And I, like I said yesterday, you can't trade Jimmy. It's impossible. Nobody would want Jimmy. So, okay, we got to give you a pick or two, a player, whatever. And then we're going to pay this guy $50 million. And he's not helping us at all in the regular season. That doesn't make any sense. Just doesn't make any sense. Nobody's trading for a player that cannot help you in the regular season and is waiting for the postseason. They're not going to do it. So, and they're not going to have that kind of cap space available just for a player to hang out for the entire regular season and help them out. So we'll see. Jimmy can't say his knee hurts. He wants an extension. You can't. I've been steadfast on that for a long time, for well over a year now. You can't give Jimmy an extension. You just can't. Let's see. NorCal is in. Good morning, Puff Puff. Emilio, she could be great in bed, but if she's messy and dirty and keeps the house dirty, not this guy, bye-bye. No, well, hold on a second. If she's great in bed, she's, like I told you, she's doing her nails. She looks beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Fine. She takes care of herself. Doesn't take care of the house. Then I guess you don't want Jimmy Butler around either. You know? All right, let's do it. Let's talk a little Miami Dolphins. Let's switch gears with David Furones and our Welt and Realm Miami Dolphins report.
All rise, football fans, as the Welt and Realm Miami Dolphins report with David Furones is in session.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They are committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. Here's Miami Dolphins insider David Furones.
So, David, we were talking about this with Jimmy Butler, and that Jimmy Butler, you know how he doesn't try during the regular season and then he turns it on in postseason? We're kind of hoping that that's the case again this year, correct?
Right.
So I made the analogy that it's kind of like being married to a fine-ass woman, right? Let's say I'm going to throw – do you know who Paige Spiranek is?
Yes, golfer, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly. And fine, right? Fine, beautiful, smoke show.
Objectively, yes. I think many would agree.
Yes, exactly. What, you got a girlfriend? You nervous or something about this?
No, I'm just saying. I think a lot of people would agree. Like it's not even like oh, some would find her attractive, some would. I think a lot of people would.
Right. So one guy here is against it, but having Jimmy is like being married to that fine ass woman. Now you get home, dishes aren't done. Kids walking around with, half-assed diaper. She didn't do the, she house is unclean. You're probably going to have to put gas for her in the car. She doesn't really cook. But she looks phenomenal. And in bed every night, she rocks your world. And you're like, well, she's not good for a lot of things. She doesn't pay the bills. May have to go hire somebody to clean the house or something, but damn, she comes through in many other ways. When I go out with her, I have a beautiful woman. When I'm in bed, she is a very willing participant. So is that something you can live with, David Furones?
Well, then the tiebreaker is her personality, of course.
All right, so she's got a good personality.
Oh, and you have that too.
Yeah. Jimmy's got a good personality. She just doesn't help you in the fundamentals. That's all. You're not going to have a warm cooked meal when you get home. The house isn't going to be prepared. The dishes aren't going to be done. She's not going to pay the bills. She's not going to help you with the fundamentals. Now, depends on what you like. I kind of look at sex very fundamental, but that's just me. I'm not like the average guy, I guess, but I'm just saying, can you live with that kind of woman? Can you live with Paige Spiranek in that sense?
Well, and I don't know if Paige Spiranek, if she's out there listening, if maybe she is a great cook and maybe she does do all those things. I don't know.
But I'm just saying, the Paige Spiranek that is Jimmy Butler. I'm just, it could be it could be Halle Berry. It could be Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, as an example. Yeah.
You can pick any fine ass woman you want to pick on planet Earth. Okay. Ashley Graham, if you're into Ashley Graham, I'm good, whatever. But she just doesn't help you in the fundamentals. How you doing with it?
I think you need that in the long term. You need it in the long term because, hey, the woman that doesn't do all those other things, but she's a 10 and all that other stuff. That's fun for a while, but then eventually
you're 70 and you're walking around with Christy Brinkley and she's 70. You sure about that now? You sure about that now?
Well, I'm saying all the stuff that at home stuff, taking care of you, that's all very essential.
Fellas, Fellas, I'm getting a second job and I'm hiring a nanny. As I just want you to know that right now.
Well, yeah, you could always hire a nanny, and you could always, if you got it like that. If you invested in Bitcoin like Big O did, then you have enough money where you could go ahead and hire someone to take care of your at-home needs, and then you got it all covered.
Listen, if I have Paige Sporanic at home, I'm keeping Paige Sporanic at home. I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying, I'm good. I'm good because, you know, some of you might be married to the woman that doesn't cook in the bedroom or in the kitchen.
Yeah. I mean, there's a graph, like how much on the x-axis are you willing to take for how hot the woman is.
So the point is, that's my point, that Heat fans have to take it because Jimmy Butler gives you orgasms in the bedroom. He doesn't help you at all during the regular season. That's why you're an 8 seed. That's what's happened the last 2 years. You know what I'm saying? So he's allowed to coast because he can Lupe Fiasco. He can kick, push, and coast all through the regular season. And then when he gets to the postseason, he rocks it. And so that's what Heat fans are living with, bro. That's what you're with. You're a Heat fan.
Yeah, born and raised in the county of Dade, so yeah, you know, and hoping that Jimmy does the same thing once again. But it makes you nervous just the way these regular seasons go. But I am reminded that last year it was even to a worse point. I mean, they lost the first play-in game, and then they were trailing with 3 minutes left to the Chicago Bulls in the second play-in game. Right. Who would have thought at that point that they would make the run all the way to the NBA Finals? So. Still maintain your faith. And then, I mean, you win the first one, you get the Knicks in the first round, which that's a 50-win number 2 seed. That's not a particularly strong 2 seed. And especially they still have the injury to Julius Randle, etc. Right. Yeah. Now, if you end up playing in as the 8 seed and you did knock off the Boston Celtics last year, that's a stronger Celtics team than it was last year. Much stronger this year. So that's a monster this year. So I wouldn't pick them to pull off that same upset this year, but at least you have the confidence that you can hang with them and you've done it before. Anything that in the Eastern Conference, you already know from last season, the Heat have done it before. So
yeah. All right. So you picking up anything anything newsworthy from Dolphins camp? And please don't tell me that Tua showed up.
Oh, right. Yeah. I don't find that particularly newsworthy. I think we all figured that would happen, and then it was asked to Mike McDaniel at owners' meetings.
Figured, bro. You bet your life. Not figured. You would bet your life that you will show up and be the team player that he. I would put my life on the line that guy's going to be the most professional person that this team ever deals with, because that's who he is, dude. He's not going to be walking out, holding out. That's not who he is, dude. He wants to establish himself as a leader. This is how you do it, through all these kind of things, through all these adversities. That's how you set the example. That's what he's going to do, bro. He's not going to be a diva. There's nothing about him that's diva at all.
Yeah, that is who he is. So I think no surprise that the first video that you see from the Miami Dolphins social media team yesterday was Tua Tagovailoa pulling up. Now, we don't know if it's chronological order of them showing up or not, but yeah, that he was highlighted, isolated as, all right, here he is. And to no one's surprise, it shouldn't be, because like I said, we know the type of player he is, and the type of leader he wants to be. And then Mike McDaniel said it at owners' meetings. Even then, we're following up in the media and making sure we hear it straight from Tua Tagovailoa at his luau, and he indeed said he will be there. So yes, he indeed was there. So aside from that, I think right now it's just the big, the 30 visits. We know it's a big one with Jackson Powers Johnson around, Tyler Guyton swinging by. So a couple of potential first round targets on the offensive line. We know, of course, that's a need. So we're getting down to in a week from Thursday is the first round of the draft. So we're getting down to the nitty gritty here.
I'm convinced it'll be a lineman, O or D lineman. I'm convinced it will be that. There's so many good players that are going to be in that area from both of those sides of the football. So if it's a D lineman, a tackle, or a pass rusher, one way or another, I think, or obviously a tackle guard, that kind of stuff, a guy, because the Guyton guy can play, multiple positions. Like a lot of the guys that they got this offseason, I think they may target like that also. And towards that part of the draft, the interesting part is that a lot of the linemen that are going to be available actually play guard and tackle. So I think, and then Jackson Powers Johnson obviously would be a center. But I am convinced they are going to beef up the line one way or the other.
Yeah. A focus on the trenches, I think, this year. I mean, O-line, D-line, and then if not, now, edge rusher, if like a Jared Verse or a
Right.
Latu falls to you at 21, then yeah, jump on that. Just jump on it.
I don't think Verse will at all, but I think Latu,
Yeah,
I think there's a chance for Latu. I love Jared Verse, bro. If Jared Verse would fall, that would be fantastic. But I think Latu's the other guy that I would really like there at that spot if he could fall there. Guyton, Latu, those are guys I have no problem taking those guys, at that spot. None.
Yeah, those guys. Yeah, we mentioned JPJ, and then in my mock draft last week, then I had a trade down scenario because I do see that there's just a lot of O linemen that could go in that range, and if you have multiple of those around, and you could add some extra draft capital, not have a gap between 50 and 150, what was it, 55 and 150, whatever is their fifth round pick, then yeah, you could add maybe a third rounder by a small trade down. And then there's Graham Barton is also there, Duke versatile offensive lineman who can play on the interior. So there's a lot of guys in that range. If on the defensive line, if a Byron Murphy was there out of Texas, then I like that. In my mock draft, I did have him going to the Rams, a couple picks before that, with Aaron Donald retiring, that he would be a nice replacement for them. But if there's scenarios where Latu, Murphy are there, if it's one of those linemen, a trade down scenario, I think there's a lot of options that Chris Grier can operate with when that pick rolls around at 21.
By the way, the best entrance was Jonnu Smith with the Cybertruck.
Oh yeah, how about that? Huh?
That was nice. That was slick.
I'll tell you what. I mean, you go through that parking lot. Now they have separate parking for us now, but the first year of the new facility, then we'd often have to go through because there was still some construction going on. So for our media lot, we'd have to actually drive through the player lot. And then I didn't have like connecting the dots on whose car was whose or anything, but some of the whips that you would see in that parking lot were pretty impressive, and some huge trucks. I mean, like some guys are driving monster trucks on the team, taking up multiple parking spots. So
if you made the bank, you would treat yourself to a nice vehicle, man. And especially, see, if you're in New York, that's a waste of money, right? Because you're not going to do a lot of traveling in a car. There's a lot of subway, a lot of travel. There's, mass transit is normal there. But when you live in Florida or California or Texas, you're going to live in your freaking car. And so you want to be as comfortable as possible, because every day you could be in your car no less than 45 minutes to, if you're in California, it could be 2 hours, 2.5 hours in your car. So you want to treat yourself. So if you live in South Florida, bro, you need a car. Not even growing up, do you take mass transit in this town? That's how bad mass transit is in our town, that it's useless, bro. It's useless. It's been useless. So treating yourself to wheels in South Florida, I think it's a must.
Yeah. We don't use it in mass transit in South Florida, but even you mentioned New York. I mean, I think athletes, if they were to play for the Giants or Jets, that means their facilities out in New Jersey. So if you're living in the city, then yeah, you probably do want to ride, and you pay whatever incredible parking number you have to you have to pay to park at your building or whatever. But you obviously you can afford that. So, but
or they have drivers, they have services.
Drivers, yeah. Or I mean, there's very nice neighborhoods in North New Jersey. You could have like Tony Soprano's house over there, and live in a mansion over there, and then just go to the city whenever you want.
Right.
But even in Miami, yeah, I never used mass transit too much. I think like the first times I really used it, I was in high school doing community service hours at a hospital down like by Jackson, and then my parents would drop me off at like Dadeland South Station, so they would drive me all the way over, and then I just take the metro rail, and then I was learning. Oh, okay, so you wait for your stop. Oh, you get off here. Oh, and learning.
As a kid, I used the bus a lot, and it was a nightmare, bro. Nightmare if I wanted to go to Midway Mall, or because I lived all the way in Little Havana, and if I wanted to go to Midway Mall, taking that stupid bus all the way up Flagler, and oh my God, if I want to go to downtown Miami, taking a bus or whatever. I remember I had anemia as a kid. I was like 9 years old or something like that. And my mom had to take me to La Clínica Pastel, which was literally right in front of Hialeah Park Casino, where I'm at every Thursday. Right in the corner of it used to be La Clínica Pastel. And we used to have to take multiple buses, and it was, 2 hours to get there, 2 hours to get back. And it was just so I could get, some transfusion for my anemia or something. I had to do it for like 6 months or some shit. And brother, that was like the nightmarish thing. Every couple of weeks I had to get on the bus, and oh my God, it was mass transit in our town has always been just terrible, bro. Terrible.
Yeah, I never had to really ride the bus. I mean, like middle school, we had our neighborhood, would meet at a stop at a given intersection in the neighborhood, and then a school bus would come, pick us up. But right. I usually had either my parents dropping me off at school. I didn't drive until I was like finishing up high school. But then maybe like once I was deep into high school, I would hitch a ride back with my friends that already were driving, things like that. But as far as
once I was like, right around there, but by the time I got like to 10 or 11 or 12, and I got my motocross bike, my Ashtabula, I remember. Brother, we went biking everywhere, from my house to the Grove to Key Biscayne to you name it. We bike rode to everywhere after that. It was like no more mass transit. We're bike riding wherever we want to go, just bike ride as kids. That's what we did, because bro, busing is just absolutely brutal. All right, so what else is going on Dolphins wise? What are we missing?
Well, actually, Chris Greer will be speaking to us later today, so we'll have that pre-draft.
This is the pre-draft. I don't say anything press conference.
Oh man, you're already spoiling it. No, I mean, I'm interested to hear what he has to say about a few things. I'm sure now he'll have to answer to hearing about the Devontae Smith contract. So now Jalen Waddle he's going to be comparing it to. So that's a framework for Jalen Waddle to work off of, and he probably deserves a nudge above what Devontae Smith has made in that contract. So he's definitely going to be making a comparison there.
But first of all, the contract is not now. It's right. An extension. And they've already made their decisions. Nobody is getting signed this offseason except Tua. Then next year, could be during the season, could be after. That's when Waddle's. This doesn't do anything to Waddle's situation. It doesn't hurry it up. It doesn't do anything at all. It's just, okay, this is what receivers are going for. And we'll see a year from now when they're negotiations, and we'll see where it's at. But
yeah, I would imagine, you go ahead and exercise that 5th-year option. We know that for sure with Jalen Waddle, and then that gives you another year. Now the thing is, the wide receiver market just continues to explode and skyrocket year to year. And he has a great season, and then it could turn into a similar thing like the Christian Wilkins situation. So, do you want to operate in the same way and then let it go to that 5th-year option and then get to that point, and then he takes off, and then you end up maybe losing him in the same way. So it depends if they do want to adjust based on that. But But yeah, I mean, I can see it playing out that same way. You give yourself another year with the 5th-year option, and then go ahead and take care of it long term.
And you use that 5th-year option because you can rework that deal. You can lower that number, so you buy yourself some time and you backload the contract a little bit more. So really, Brandon Shore's job and Chris Greer's job is to extend this and use that 5th-year option, not tear it up. Use it as a stepping stone to it. He still gets his bonus money. Nothing ever changes, but you're able to manipulate the length of the contract more so you can keep the player and you have another year to play with. So it's kind of, again, this is nothing. And we're still going to talk about it next year. And it's still, so it just, to me, it's just, let's make something out of nothing with Devonta Smith. It's a talking point. It's a reference point, but that's about it. It really does nothing to the Waddle negotiations in a way.
Yeah. I'm with you there. And then we'll also hear about, we'll get Chris Greer's answers on outlook going into these draft picks, and actually finally having a first rounder for the first time since 21, since that Jalen Waddle and Jalen Phillips draft. Actually, it's been that long. And then we also haven't heard from him since all the free agency moves. So, we can hear from him on all those.
Yeah. I wonder if he's not going to talk Armstead, too personal, but it's kind of, the preparation for possibly losing Armstead after this year. I wonder, because that's kind of what they're doing in this draft and everywhere else. They're kind of preparing this because they know that this is probably his final year. So that's why, lineman looks pretty good for them at 21, because you're going to have to plan for life after, Teron Armstead. And by the way, I throw it out there, I think your left tackle is already on the team. Just so you'll know.
Are you saying the future left tackle? Mm-hmm. Keon Smith?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. What would it be? Austin Jackson going to left tackle? Huh.
Yep. And he hasn't played well there, right? But
yeah, and for a while, it hasn't been there.
That was the old Austin Jackson.
Right.
The new Austin Jackson is much more confident. And if he continues on this trajectory and he dominates on the right side and plays really well this year, you saw him blocking downfield like 40 yards.
Oh, yeah, he can do that.
He's super athletic. Mm-hmm. So you're going to bring in a young guy in. So this year he plays guard. Next year he plays right tackle. You move Austin, who's then seasoned, ready to go. They know him well. They know that he knows the system, all of that. And I could see him playing left tackle when Teron Armstead leaves, because Austin has the athleticism to play out at left side and play with those athletes. And then if you bring in Graham or Guyton or any of these guys, they can become the right tackle, for you. And Chris Greer's style, you're now paying the right tackle. You're now playing him at left tackle while paying him right tackle money.
Yeah. Now, would the Dolphins prioritize left tackle in that same way in the future over right tackle when Tua's a lefty and his blind side is coming off the right tackle side?
Right. I mean, but this is all projection, and if they feel that the guy that's going to take over can do the job. Guyton, from what I understand, is a true right tackle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So if he's a true right tackle, what do you think? And Austin Jackson, are you going to tell me he doesn't have the athleticism to play left tackle? Hell no, dude. He can be a left tackle. You know what I mean? The problem is we can't look at him like the Austin Jackson for the first couple of years. We have to look at him now where he's a different player, not just physically, but also mentally, as you're around him more than we are. You know how you've seen his transition now. He feels a lot more confident about who he is. Yeah, he's got a lot of confidence. I think that can translate to left tackle eventually. So I'm just throwing it out there because I think it's something that is possibly. You want to make sure that whoever you draft is going to start on that line. And then you also want to make sure that the guy that you also have can play the other side. And I think that guy can. That's just me. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
I'm just a little iffy on that. You've already found success with Austin Jackson at right tackle, and then to move him again. But I mean, if it is indeed a new Austin Jackson these days, so I would think at this point he could handle that, and then view it as okay. Now I'm going back to that premium position of left tackle, albeit for a lefty throwing quarterback. But left tackle, that's that premium position. That's where Teron Armstead was. A Pro Bowler these last 2 years for us, where he earned 5 Pro Bowls, and now I could take that spot. And then, with his confidence that he's shown in recent years and how he feels about his game, then I could see something like that.
Yeah. All right. What else are you working on in the Sentinel?
Yeah, we broke down DBs in the draft, and then also the where the Dolphins stand at cornerback and safety, and then now our next position breakdown is D-line and edge. So obviously a big one as we're getting closer to the draft, as we break down Dolphins needs there, and also we have Chris Greer coverage for his media availability this afternoon. So check out what he says in the Sun Sentinel.
All right, there you go. Follow him on Twitter at David Furones _. David, as always, thank you, my brother. We will catch up later in the week.
Thank you.
You got it. Welton Rayom, 2 amazing people. They're great lawyers, but they're amazing people. And to me, that's actually the most important part, because you got to get first to the person. And when the person actually cares about their clients, that's where they're going to go all the way. And it doesn't matter. I've seen them with cases where they have 150, 200 clients going up against a major corporation or just one client. Lots of our listeners have gone. Myself, my wife and myself, Progressive. My wife got a little hard-headed. And when those kids went through the wall of our house, I was like, let me call Jeff and Dan. She's like, no, let me handle it first. I'm like, so I try to walk you, because, I do stupid shit all the time. And so when I do stupid shit, I try to learn from it, and then I want to help you so you don't end up doing the same thing. These insurance companies want us to call because you and I don't know the loopholes and all the laws. Lawyers do. They know it, and they know it very well. And when they call the insurance company on your behalf, the insurance company is all of a sudden like this. Oh, shit. Because they know now they're not dealing with you and me. And that's what they were doing. They're dealing with my wife and giving her the runaround. I said, enough's enough. You tried, right? Let me call Jeff. And sure enough, brother, they brought him to their knees. They were trying to rip us off. So make sure, and now, while DeSantis does a lot of good things, like, the squatters law and, certain things that he's been doing, but then he does some stuff that, like every politician, good, bad, he put us at a disadvantage with our insurance laws. So the insurance companies have the edge over us right now. You know what's the most important thing in that? Is that you have the best lawyer. Because if you don't have the best lawyer, you're not going to get what you deserve, what you pay for your premium. So call Welton Rayom, 954-966-4646. Bankruptcy, homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. Welton Rayom, 954-966-4646. Hour number 2, and Manny Navarro next.
This has been another session of the Welton Rayom Miami Dolphins Report with David Furones. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help.
More tables, more entertainment.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house!
Get out of the house! Call 1-800-ALARM-NE.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. If you're a Miami sports fan, there's only one store to go to, and that's Canes Wear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Canes Wear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro, exclusively on a Big O radio show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
All right. Good morning, my man. How you feeling?
Doing good, O. How are you?
Excellent. Cannot complain. Although I will say a little bit of a sad day today.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Twitter, and like I always on Twitter, pretty much, answering and going back and forth with folks and ripping idiots. And then I run into Susan Miller Degnan's retirement post. That today was her first. I didn't even know she was leaving the Herald.
Yeah.
And so today, I guess she didn't want to announce anything, and she just like kind of announced, "Hey, I'm done. I'm free now. I'm out of here."
Yep.
After 4,000 years and 4 billion articles, I don't have to, chase around these punks anymore, and I'm retiring. No, seriously. Just, dude, one of the golden people in our business, one of the best human beings you will ever meet. Just a when you say salt of the earth person.
Yeah.
That's just Susan, dude. Susan is she's a goddess, and kind of a sad day. You know what I'm saying? A little sad, bro. Losing she's real South Florida flavor. You know what I'm saying? So it sucks.
No question. The fans didn't know that, she lives in Deerfield Beach. So she would drive from Deerfield Beach every morning to get down to Miami, over an hour and a half to get down there. And, she's at this close to 40 years. For the Herald. I worked with her for a very long time. One of my best friends on the beat, and so many steak dinners together, me and the other writers and her, and being in different cities. And I know some fans got annoyed by her sometimes. They would complain on YouTube and say, "Man, Susan, why are you asking that question?" And they'd get angry with her. But she was as old school a journalist as you will ever come across. And, taught me so many great things. And you're right, I am sad. She did have a retirement party a couple weekends ago. Oh, we kept it on the DL because she didn't want anybody really knowing. She didn't want to go out, with a bunch of fanfare and a tour. So
I get it.
But super sweet lady. It was great. Everybody from the Herald went. Greg Cody gave a speech. George Rojas, who was a longtime editor, who's with me now at The Athletic, gave a speech. And Michelle Kaufman and Dave Barry, threw the party for her, and it was great. It was a great moment. So many great people were there, and wish nothing but happiness for Susan, because she's a grandma now, and her kids live on the other side of the country. They live in Portland, Oregon, so she's gonna be flying across the country to go spend time with them now, and has the freedom to do it.
Get a raincoat, Susan. You need it. You're going to Portland. It rains a bit over there.
Yeah,
but anyway, so happy retirement to her. Well deserved, dude. She more than paid her dues. She had to use that Orange Bowl elevator enough that alone, okay, anybody that was subjected to the Orange Bowl elevator on a consistent basis, like
people don't know.
That alone right there, you deserve millions of dollars just having to deal with that alone. Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Wow, that place was a shithole. But hey, we miss it. I know we miss it, but it was a shithole.
It was our shithole. Oh, it was our
shithole, but it was working at that place was, oh my God, that was just not. So that woman deserves gold watch, a gold car,
something.
Yeah, exactly. So I saw that today, and I go, man, I'm glad I'm having Manny on. We could talk a little to Susan because she's such a good person.
Players loved her, by the way. The players loved her, like Santana Moss, and they would see her all these years later and be like, Susan, we love you. You know, it was like
because she didn't have a mean bone in her body, dude.
Right.
She was just. They realized after, or maybe in the middle, they might have been frustrated or something, but she just did her job.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't have an agenda ever doing her job. And I think that that's what people then you realize right away, she's, like you said, as old school as it gets. You know what I mean? And so she's not carrying a grudge. She's not she's not picking a side.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you got like a source on one side of the whatever. And so you tend to kind of defend that side more than the other, that kind of stuff. So nothing, she's just, so I could see that, bro. I can see that. So good people there. All right. So talk to me. What's the buzz coming out of practice?
Well, I mean, obviously it wrapped up on Saturday, and Cam Ward, I thought, looked really, really good. Showed you everything that this season's going to be about, and it's him making plays, improvising, tucking and running when he has to tuck and run, extending plays. They feel good about their passing game. They feel good about their offense. They want to get him some more weapons now here as the transfer portal opens. But
that's what I was going to ask you. Does he have the complementary receivers?
Yeah,
to do what he needs to do. That's the thing.
Well, I think he's got one of the best slot receivers in college football in Xavier Restrepo, who just knows how to get open in space. I think he's got two solid outside receivers in Jacoby George and Isaiah Horton, two guys that can certainly do the job right at this level, even if they're not, future first-round picks. I think they're solid college receivers. And then you got some really good young guys in JoJo Trader and Nye Carr, who I think, are a step up in terms of level of talent that are sort of backing up. So they have a lot of wide receiver depth, but I think if they can go out and get a true number one, a guy that can stretch the field, a guy like a Keon Coleman that Florida State was able to get last year, if one of those guys comes available, I think Miami's going to make the push there. But I think the bigger priority is the backfield. I know we've talked a lot about Mark Fletcher in the offseason. At times I was told, he's going to be okay and he's going to come back. And Mario said he's going to be back in the summer. But I think there's a lot of apprehension there, whether or not he's going to fully recover and be 100% for the whole season or just come back and play sort of injured. And I think that's the concern. And so I think Miami is hot and heavy on Damian Martinez, the running back from Oregon State. I think the moment he officially puts his name in the transfer portal, Miami will probably be one of his destinations, one of the schools that he looks at. 1,000-yard back, really good back at Oregon State the last 2 years. And a guy that's pretty much a one-year rental. I think most people expect him, wherever he ends up, to come in, do a great job, and go pro. So I think Miami's just in a position, and you look at the rest of the ACC, there's no dominant team. Florida State's obviously taken a step back. They lost a lot of guys. Clemson is down compared to what it used to be. You look at the ACC and you say, man, if Miami's got the best quarterback in the conference with Cam Ward, and they've got a really good defensive line with guys like Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor and all that, maybe they can win the league this year. Maybe they can get to the college football playoff. And I think that's the way the thinking is around Coral Gables right now. It's we gotta try to go out and make this the best possible team we can for this season, and give this season a shot to.
Do they have the coach?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the question, right? Is Mario going to get in the way? Is Shannon Dawson going to call the right plays and the right kind of offense? Those are all things you worry about, right? With Miami, but I think.
I worry a lot about Mario. I need to see Mario, as I've told you before, from the second I hired him. What he did at Oregon wasn't good enough.
Right. And that's the thing with Mario. There's games where his team will step up and they'll pull off a big win at Ohio State, and then they'll lose, to Stanford or somebody like that. And you're just shaking your head. And that's
beat by Utah twice in a year on your way out.
Right.
If you're Oregon, you cannot lose to Utah. And Utah's good, but you can't lose to them twice in a year. You can't, bro.
Right.
Oregon, Stanford, Utah, USC, those teams should be like badasses with the resources you have, the recruiting that's out west, all that shit. Henning did a really good job at Oregon. So, I'm just saying, I still don't know if Mario's the guy at an elite level. I know he does all the fundamental stuff.
Right.
I need to see him outcoach the guy on the other side constantly.
Yeah, and I don't know that we'll ever get to that point. I don't know that other guys like Mario always get to that point either. Like Butch Davis, was he really a tremendous tactician, or
terrible.
just a great D line coach and recruiter? I mean,
Recruiter.
Mario is essentially the opposite, right? A great offensive line coach and a ridiculous recruiter.
Right.
So I think in a lot of ways, maybe that's sort of the path here at Miami. Maybe at some point, he builds the talent up the way Butch did, and somebody else comes in and wins the national championship. I don't know if that's the case.
Match wits, because you're going to get to a point where, okay, now you have enough talent to compete with them.
Right.
So now if you're going to beat Kirby, you got to beat him here, bro.
Yeah.
So, and that's where I'm not sure. It's like I look at Mike McDaniel and I look at Mario Cristobal, and I kind of see the same issues.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yo, dude, I need you to become a better game day coach. I understand systematically. I understand what you want to do, Mario, and I'm good with that. I know you want to run. Running is good. You can live off of that and the passing game and all that, but then I need you to take chances when you're there. Mike McDaniel, I know you got a great offensive mind, but my brother, you mismanage a game all throughout.
Right.
So, like, to me, I don't worry so much about the draft or the recruiting or this guy or that coach or that assistant coach or this talent or that. I really worry about the two head coaches first and foremost of these two football teams.
Well, you're right, and I think obviously the NFL is different kind of hurdles with the salary cap and all that kind of stuff. And look, NIL, it's this untamed beast right now. We don't know where it's going to go. We don't know if ultimately you got to be in the SEC or Big Ten to survive and to really be a contender. Like, all that is going to play out here in the next couple of years. But I will say this: I think from a talent accumulation standpoint, Mario is one of the best in college football, and I think if he can find the right coordinators, and I think he's got that guy on defense right now. I think Lance Guidry is a very, very, very good D coordinator. Then they and you have a special quarterback like Cam Ward. Maybe you overcome some stupid decisions and some bad game plans, and you're able to win the thing. And so I'm not picking Miami to win a national title this year. I'm not, but I would not be surprised though if they won the conference and got to the college football playoff, because I think Cam Ward is that kind of talent. And I think you look at the history of the ACC. Last year, Jordan Travis was the best quarterback in the league. He was. He performed the most consistently. Drake May, talent-wise, was maybe more talented than him, but Jordan Travis and his receivers, that's what won the ACC. Florida State's defense was good, very good, but not elite. Not like, oh my God, this is the greatest defense I've ever seen. So I think Miami, in a lot of ways, is similar to that. I think picking some guys up in the secondary will be important in the portal window here. To help solidify it. But I think with Cam Ward and some of the weapons they have on offense, there's a chance they can win the league this year.
My pro coach doesn't know what down it is in a playoff game, and my college coach doesn't know when to take a knee. So I got issues here.
I totally get it, brother. I totally get it. And it's a fair criticism of both. I think it's a fair criticism of both. And I'll say this. I think Miami's football schedule this year, the Hurricanes, is very winnable. The Dolphins, of course, you're playing.
It's a pro schedule.
It's a pro schedule. It's totally different. So
it's a pain in the ass every week.
Yep.
No matter who you play in the pros, dude. That's just kind of the way it is.
Yep.
Anything else on the news front for the Canes?
Well, I mean, look, they're going to have guys entering the portal today. They got to get down there. I have them at 89 scholarships right now with everybody that is supposed to be coming in here in the summer. They're 4 over right now. And I'm not entirely sure if Mario's nephew, Lou Cristobal, and Jason Taylor's son, Isaiah Taylor, count against the 85 scholarship number. So really, it could be 87. It could be 89 or more, depending on which walk-ons they have on scholarship. But I think, they're going to try to get down, and I would expect them to sign somewhere to 6 to 8 guys in the transfer portal just to add depth at key positions. And if they can, like I said, find a number one receiver, find a number one running back, those are the two priorities. And then DB depth. You need guys in the secondary that you can trust that are going to do their job. So I think those are the three main priorities. Maybe add a linebacker if you can add another experienced guy. Maybe add another edge rusher, D lineman type, just to add more depth. But they're gonna you'll see 10 to 12 guys under the portal today.
Can these guys play Kirstobal and Taylor's kid?
They're backups. They're just guys, and look, you need those. You need some guys that are just practice guys, right? To make the ones do their job and to stay on their toes. And I think, these other guys are, just rotational type, special teams, those kind of type things.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so tough as a kid to live up to people that, already had a strong reputation and something that you're doing, be Michael Jordan's kid or Ted Williams' kid or
right,
whatever, Ray Lewis's kid, Highsmith. It just, bro, following in the footsteps of, your dad, Cristobal or Jason Taylor. Jesus Christ. Oh,
yeah.
God.
Well, it's funny, because we've seen so many of the kids go through there. Irvin's kid,
most of them fail. Most
of them because they grow up in a totally different home than their dads did. Yeah. I had a high school coach tell me this once. If you want to know how hungry a kid is to make it out of a tough situation, go to their house and open up the refrigerator. He goes, I guarantee you the best players are the ones that have nothing in that refrigerator.
Yeah. Yeah. People got to fight for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Ken Griffey Juniors are the rarity.
Right.
They're the rarity that they grew up around the game and then they understood, and they really got it. And they strive to be better than their dads. And that guy did, actually.
Right.
There's a couple of those cases, but it's sad because most of them end up failing because it's just so hard to live up to that next reputation. Mm-hmm. So you want to be an actor like your dad, and your dad's, an Oscar winner and all that. And it just living up to that. You're almost better off picking another profession.
Yep.
Going in another way so they never compare you again.
Yep. 100%. And I think, we've seen that sometimes. We've seen people go into different things and be successful as well. So, but that's the word. That's the word from Miami right now. And I think, the next couple of weeks will be interesting to watch. Damian Martinez, though, is the name to watch at running back for Miami.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro and catch his work there at The Athletic. Better yet, subscribe. Manny, as always, thank you, my brother. We'll catch up on Friday.
Take care, man. I'll see you.
Don't forget, Caneswear. They got anything and everything practically with a Canes logo on it. Use our code BIG010. You will get 10% off if you go in person or you go online. And by the way, for those of you that live out of town or maybe you don't live too close to Davie, you go online and you order over $99, you will get free shipping, and use our code BIG010. You will get 10% off. There you go. Save yourself a little money. Caneswear.com.
Welcome to Caneswear.
New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at Caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
All right. Get to sports. Just on the side, by the way, again, Susan Miller, Degnan, excellent work covering the Canes for many, many years for the Miami Herald. A beautiful human being. She is just salt of the earth. Wish you the best in your retirement. Google has opened up an office in El Salvador, where Bukele has completely changed that place, dude. Let's see what else. A little what's it called? Opinion. Okay. I don't care if you're protesting for Palestinians, gay rights, Black Lives Matter, union workers. I don't care. Whatever it is, protest. I'm not about protesting, blocking bridges, blocking main arteries to cities. I'm not about, you want to protest at a consulate. You have a problem with traffic in South Florida. Go to, what's her name? Daniela Cava, right? The mayor. Go to her house. Surround her house. You know what I'm saying? Do something where you're sending the message, but you're not in the way of human beings. I'm not for that, because there could be family emergencies. And so if you want people to have sympathy for your plight, they're not going to have sympathy for your plight if somebody, there was a protest about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, forgot which state it was. It stopped, listen to this, transplants. There were emergency, vehicles trying to get body parts to people who needed it, who are waiting in the operation rooms. We can't do that. I don't agree with DeSantis on a lot of shit, but I voted for him only because the other side had nothing. And he does some good things. This is one of them. They arrest you here for protesting and getting in the way now. It's new law. They have new laws for porch pirates. They have laws for shoplifting. That shit that goes on in California can't go on here. Oh, and by the way, not only do they have laws for the shoplifting stuff, because they don't do that shit here in California. Like, oh, you can steal up to $9.99 and they don't do anything to you. Not here. Oh, and if you're in a group, the penalties are even bigger. Squatters. We got laws here that he just passed it for squatters. I'm good with that. That protects citizens. Dude, you protest all you want, but do it in an organized fashion where you're not hurting others, because that's kind of what you're protesting about, right? Because innocent Palestinians are getting hurt. Okay. But you can't be hurting innocent people while you're trying to get your message. Because on that Golden Gate Bridge, I lived in San Francisco. I lived in Tiburon on the other side, where Sausalito, Sausalito's the first island, then Tiburon. Okay. What if my mom or dad or grandfather or brother, they're old, let's say, they fell, they're calling me. They live in San Francisco. I got to get there. I can't. Only way from there to there is through the Golden Gate Bridge because of a protest. And I've got a family emergency. You think now I'm going to have any sympathy for whatever kind of protest that is? Nope. Nope. So I suggest if you protest, do it where you're not going to piss off the average person. Send the message. You want the government to get the message? Go to the Capitol, dude. Go to the Capitol. That's where you send the message. You block a bridge or something, and you stop average people from their lives, getting to work, making money, an emergency you're not winning people over. You're not going to win people over. Nope. Nope. No, you're not. So, Black Lives Matter and LGBT or whatever. And if you start tearing up stuff and destroy, nobody's going to have any sympathy for you. So if you have problems with the law, then go to a police department and protest there in front of the police department. That's your problem, right? Okay, then do it there. Don't ruin normal people's lives to send your message. That does not get anywhere. So I'm just saying there's a way of doing it, but you've got to be more strategic about it. And if we're talking about injustice, you can't go following an injustice with another injustice. Just saying, right? We're talking about injustice. We're talking about people being mistreated, whatever it is. Gay community, women's rights, bias, Palestinians, whatever. Okay, so the injustice that's going on, let me now also create an injustice on somebody else. Let me block the Bay Bridge so that way the person that is in an emergency, a health emergency, can get to somebody else. How is that productive? Let me loot this store. Let me set this on fire. Let me turn this car over during our protest. Because that's the best way to ruin an innocent person's car or their business or hurt them? Wait a minute, but they didn't do that to you. It's got to be some common decency here in the process of it. So when it's kind of like what goes on in the Middle East. There is no common decency there. They don't care about life. They mistreat each other to the max every opportunity they get. And that's why the wars there will never end. It's been going on for 1,000 years because there's never any mercy. Ever. Nobody ever says, let's work on peace, because they don't want peace. They want to annihilate the other person. That's all they want to do. It's crazy. Crazy shit. Anyway, done. Did you see Stephen A. Smith said Dame isn't happy? Yeah. Well, the price has gone way down for Dame now. But I don't know what happens. I'm certainly not trading for that wuss. I'm just saying. He's unhappy in Milwaukee. Screw him. That's what I would say for Damian Lillard. Screw him. All right? I got no time for Damian Lillard. Seriously. What a whiny little bitch. Plus, he has no balls. So, I'm done with that guy. DeSantis is not legalizing THC, Bill's fake crowd noise. It's going to the ballot, not by his decision, dude. So, just like the abortion thing, going to vote, not by his decision. Too many of you are so freaking uninformed, and you really don't know what's going on. And you might be blinded by your little Democrat or Republican ways. So you create something for your side that doesn't exist. So, dude, if you think marijuana legalization is on for voting or abortion is on for votes for the average person because DeSantis put it there, brother, do me a favor. Never say that again. Okay? You might be talking to somebody else that's fucking stupid and they don't know what's going on, but not here. Please, not here. Not here. Okay? Not here. You will be called out. Okay? DeSantis doing that. I'll give DeSantis credit when he deserves it and when he doesn't. Not you. You're not informed enough. Bill's fake crowd noise. Okay? Normally you chime in with some good stuff. But when you don't, and I don't give a shit who you are, I'm going to call you out. Not DeSantis, bro. Please. If it's up to DeSantis, what you have now wouldn't be legal. It's on the ballot because Truly spent $40 million. That's the problem with politics. People like Bill's fake crowd noise, they don't know shit about it. They don't know what really is going on, and they just repeat stupid shit that other stupid people say. Don't do it here. Don't do it here. I'm not going to allow you to spread misinformation. Anyway, I agree with you, Big O. Don't, incapacitate others' lives if you want us to understand what you feel for. If you I just said it right. Anyway, I get you. I understand. What is it? Why am I getting confused now? Forget it. Anyways, now my mind is twisted now. Anyways, there's a dude out there called the Squatter Hunter. I want to be that dude. Yeah, but you don't want to be that dude in Florida anymore. What's up?
Incapacitated.
Jesus Christ. Yes. Thank you. Public transportation in most of the U.S. is horrible. There are only 3 to 4 cities in the whole country that have decent. You're probably right, Jamie. What is it, like New York, Chicago? Boston? I'm not sure. I'm not smart. San Fran's not bad, by the way. The BART and all that, that's actually not too bad. San Fran's pretty good. Yeah, you're probably right, dude. There's probably only a couple places that have good public transportation. Most places probably suck. Yeah, because it has to be very Chicago, New Yorkish, right? All on top of each other. So that way the mass transit really works well with the subways. Or what's that called in Chicago? Because it's above rail. Whatever. But you know what I'm talking about. Let's see. The worst people ever, the bad people hiding behind the good ones. Yeah. Morning, Big O and Sean. La Ruta 11 and 7 were clutch growing up in Miami in the 90s. Many get confused the bill signed for the anti-rioting. I think it's supposed to stop protesting when it actually keeps people safe and allows them to continue. Exactly. They move you to a spot where you're not getting in the way, is what they do. You are correct. Yep. Neil's old drop, you've been called out. True Leave is, brother, listen, dude, 67, if you want marijuana legalized, I don't know if you do or not, True Leaf is your friend. And by the way, marijuana should be legalized. If alcohol is legal, marijuana should be legal. Let's come on. Enough. Please. Enough. We have more problems with prescription drugs and alcohol than marijuana could ever create. Not even close. In fact, marijuana solves way more medical problems. True, real medical problems. Something we don't need alcohol for. And the prescription drugs are killing many, many people. So, the hypocrisy of all of that is just a joke. It really is. So it's been legal for me since 83. All right, let's get to our 3A graphic sports calendar. 980 West 22nd Street in Hialeah. Alan Blanco and the folks, 786-618-1443. Custom printing and embroidery, column, uniforms, you name it, magnets, calendars. They do it all. Tell them that Big O sent you. They'll take care of you. 786-618-1443. Giants over the Marlins, 4-3. They dropped to 3-14. Tonight, Jordan Hicks, Ryan Weathers, 6:40 first pitch. 7:30 tonight, last game of the regular season. Maple Leafs visiting the Panthers. And playing game tonight, NBA. Lakers and Pelicans at 7:30. And Warriors and Kings at 10 o'clock. That is your 3A Graphics sports calendar. So there you go. Tua or Tyreek, Big O? What stupid question is that? I don't know. What are you trying to accomplish there? You think this is like some little fan site or something that has nothing to talk about? So we're going to start talking about Tua or Tyreek? What do you think I am, 15 years old, bro? What's a stupid conversation? Brother, go to the other places that have very limited skills of talking and education and understanding of sports and life and everything else. Go over there, bro. That's just, garbage crap for people that just can't talk. I've been on for an hour and 35 minutes straight. Very little breaks. I don't need to reach for stupid ass material like that. So we don't do that here, bro. Just don't. Example. Devonta Smith signs a 3-year, $75 million extension. Waddle. Oh, should the Dolphins talk to Waddle now? And this has nothing to do with Waddle. This doesn't speed up anything. I already told you what's happening. They passed on the wave of free agents. They're signing Tua, and it's over. Next year, they'll deal with Waddle, Phillips, Holland, and who am I missing? There's one more, Sean. Phillips, Waddle, Holland.
It would have been Tua, which they're going to take care of now.
Yeah, okay. Right. And the new league year will start Tua's contract, and then the others will follow. So this has nothing to do with it. This is just a reference point. This is what they're paying receivers. And they're not paying them this year. It's an extension. So it gets silly. So I get it. All you do is write Dolphins. So I got to come up with some angle. Well, should the Dolphins start talking to Waddle now? No, but we can get you thinking that by writing the article. Oh, does this put it in some difficult situation for the Dolphins? No, not at all. Tyreek will be gone. Waddle will get the contract. And they'll draft another receiver to be number 2 next to Waddle. So it's going to happen. There's, if you want to be built up with drama, go somewhere else, and they'll lie to you and tell you that Devonta Smith's contract, oh my God, this puts heat on the doesn't do anything, dude. Doesn't do anything whatsoever. It doesn't change a thing. No matter what anybody writes, no matter what podcast you watch or anything like this, has nothing to do with it. It's just a reference point for the team and for Waddle's agent next year. They'll pick up the 5th-year option, like I told David Furonis, and I'll tell you all. And the Dolphins will use that 5th-year option as a tool to extend the life of Waddle's contract. Just like they're going to do with Tua. It's the smart thing to do. Brandon Shore, Chris Greer, Reggie, Marvin, these people are not stupid. These people are very smart. And they keep doing. You're not going to pay the quarterback, the 2 receivers like they're doing in Philadelphia. And then all the other players you have to pay. Fiscally, it doesn't work out that way. So there has to be a rotation. Byron out. X has the money. Draft pick comes in. Now you got Jalen. X is out. Now you get younger. It's kind of the way it goes. You just can't keep the big salaries together for a long time. And that's going to happen at wide receiver. You will filter in Waddle's contract. You will filter out Tyreek's contract. Haven't I been telling you for a little bit now that I think this is Tyreek's last year? Because there's an out. They didn't go for any money. Maybe if he's a good boy, because of the 5th-year option for Waddle, they can play with it a little bit. They might be able to keep Tyreek for an extra year. Maybe. depends on his behavior over the next year. If his behavior is not up to snuff, they will part ways. But, if, B. McD, if you want sensationalistic podcasting, radio shows, or writing, you're not going to get it here, dude. I'm just not doing that. Just not doing that. It's not what I do. I tell you exactly what's really going on, the reality of it. I don't need to dramatize it. I don't need to sensationalize it. I don't need to do something to create something to make you think what really is not there. I'm just not doing that. And what happened with Devonta Smith, who cares? Doesn't change any timeline for the Dolphins. It's not like they can go and sign him now anyways. And by the way, it would not be smart. You use the fifth-year option. It's part of the extension of the negotiations. And it's part of it's a very important tool for the team to try to extend the life of the player too. Oh, we're going to tear it up and give him a new deal. No fifth year. No, that's stupid. So that's what we just don't do here on this show. I've been at this too long to lie to you and tell you that Albert Wilson's going to be some kind of impactful player. I don't need to talk up Albert Wilson. I don't need to talk up Robbie Chosen. I know what they are. You know what I mean? But others have to fill space. I cut through the bullshit. So I can't do that kind of stuff, dude. I just can't. Wish I could. I know it would be better for the platform, but it's just not my style. If you want bullshit, you can go somewhere else. I think I only used public transportation in South Florida once or twice as a teen. The lack of personal bubble hygiene and waiting nightmare made me want to get a license sooner. Yeah, dude. Public transportation in South Florida is the worst. Do you think Riley still has interest in trading for Dame? Would you give up one of our young? I wouldn't now anymore. I'm not giving up the young guys anymore now. That was last year. He didn't want to come. Screw him. I'm done. They needed him to win the other night, and he couldn't come through. And they gave up. So I'm turned off by Dane, bro. And here's the other thing. Does Jimmy still have it? Because I don't know. I haven't seen it for a year. And if you bring another star, you're going to wear that star out all year because the other star doesn't want to play. And I don't know, how do you recruit another star that's not Dame now, because since obviously he's going to run out of options now, because a lot of people aren't going to take him nearly like they did the year before. He's lost value himself now. Okay? Because he got a year older now and things haven't gone well there. But what star is going to want to come here now when Jimmy doesn't help you during the regular season? You have to remember the inherent problems now that the Miami Heat have with Jimmy Butler. Age, salary, and no effort in the regular season. So the age and the salary are not the other star's problem, but the no effort in the regular season will be a problem. So is he supposed to bust his ass and carry the team while Jimmy's doing commercials and relaxing and going to see some new coffee beans in Colombia? Right? Jimmy can be Smelling his coffee. So it's tough, dude. It's tough. I would not trade for Dame because Dame is no longer that guy that can carry you. And if Jimmy's not carrying you during the regular season, then that's a real problem. Yeah, I'm done with that. Ross not letting anybody get an extension this year, all or nothing for Greer or McDaniel. No, that they're getting to the extension, Papa. Okay? You can't sign everybody. They let this wave go because they're going to sign the next wave. Educate yourself, my brother. Don't go out there talking gibberish because that's what you're talking right now. Has nothing to do. Ross does what they need them to do. If they wanted to re-sign Hunt and Wilkins, they would have. But if apparently, Papa, you don't listen to this show because you're on here all the time, but you don't listen to the show. Because I told you a year ago, Wilkins was not coming back. A year ago. I told you Wilkins was not coming back. It had nothing to do with Ross. I'm trying to help you, my man. I'm trying to help some of you out there. I want you to go back to your friends and you share your knowledge, because if I give you the knowledge, share it, because you're going to be right. They're all going to be wrong. Okay? Because all you had to do was tell your friends a year ago, yeah, dude, Wilkins not coming back. They don't want to pay him. That's it. You would have looked like a genius. Don't even say you heard it on the show. That's all. And if you listened to me 2 years ago, you would have heard that Byron Jones will get released in a year and X will be released in 2 years. Did it happen like clockwork? Yeah. Yeah. We don't bullshit here, bro. So, Papa, it has nothing to do with Ross at all. This is Greer, McKenzie, and Allen saying, yeah, we're passing up on these guys. We'll sign the next wave. The next wave is more important to our foundation. And as I've explained, they know they don't have this problem for the next couple of years because the last 2 years, they've traded a lot of their early picks. They only have later picks. They've only hit on a couple. They're not going to have a ton of contracts coming up. So those issues will balance out over the next couple of years after this next season in 2025 when you have a big wave of free agents. But you'll get compensatory picks from this year's wave. Papa, educate yourself, my brother. That way you can really tell your friends what's going on with the Dolphins, my man. We will see who's right. You're that guy. So you're that guy. We will see who's right. That's some fucking ignorant shit. Damn. That's one ignorant mofo right there. We will see who's right. Big O, I can't see the Dolphins paying both. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Oh, are you going to do a draft party? Doesn't look like it right now. Doesn't look like it. Big O, the Heat front office educated in the low-hanging fruit method. No, not really. Although the Duncan contract became low-hanging fruit now because he is worth the money. Oh, I can get the lotto tickets and I will split the pot with you. Oh, man. The reality with the Heat is there's not much they can do to improve the team in the offseason. Lack of assets and no superstars and even available at this point. Exactly. Yeah, they're kind of stuck in a really difficult place. Like I said, you just need to play out the 2 years that are left with Jimmy and move on. That's what you need to do. Let's see. What else do we have that I wanted to talk about? By the way, this radio host, I saw this and I found it interesting because, one, she's wrong, not looking at it the right way. But this radio host, Maggie Gray on Sirius, because Scotty Scheffler won the Masters, right? And so in this on her show, she puts, is he the face of golf? I don't think this is at all awesome for golf because he's got no riz, as the kids say. He's not a charisma guy. He's not. I'm not saying you have to be big on social media. He doesn't seem to be really connecting with the public in a real way. Okay, only problem is that the biggest guy ever, Tiger, had no social skills. Not on social media. He had no personality whatsoever. And he carried and influenced golf like no other. Is everybody going to have the flair of a Gary Player? No. You know, are you going to be Jack Nicklaus? No. Are you going to be Arnold Palmer? No. But see, here's the problem that she misses with golf. Scotty Scheffler isn't the face of golf because there isn't one. The one that's the face of golf is still hobbled and too old and tried to, play this weekend in Tiger Woods. And that's the problem with golf. That you're trying to find the next Tiger and the next Arnie and the next Jack and the next Gary and the next Sam Snead. And you just don't have it. You keep struggling. And you tell me that Scott Day is going to be the guy, and then the next guy. And every time somebody wins a Masters and puts on a green jacket, you're dying to label the next guy, is going to be David Duval is going to be the next guy. Right? It's kind of, they find the next, they just want to tag. I've never seen a sport so desperate for a superstar like golf. And that's all they've done for the last few years. They're dying to find the next guy. And then all they do is argue about the guy that they're trying to, who the hell's labeling Scotty Scheffler as the guy? Same idiots that were labeling all these other guys for the last 10, 15 years, because you're dying to find somebody to take over for Tiger. And right now, you just can't find it. There isn't that star that transcends, because golf in its own form where it's at now, there's no real dominant force. There's no Golden Bear. There's no Tiger. There's no Gary Player. There's nothing. There's no Jack Nicklaus. And they're dying to find the next Jack and the next Tiger. And all they seem to do is argue about, this is the guy finally. No, this is the guy finally. And none of them can carry the sport. I've never seen a sport so desperate to manufacture a superstar. Why? Because it desperately needs a superstar. Which leads me to segue into Tiger of another sex. Caitlin Clark was the number one pick in the draft last night. Caitlin Clark is a transcending talent, like Tiger Woods. It's amazing. I'm not saying she is Tiger, but she has the transcendental qualities of Tiger. Tiger got minorities to watch, minorities to play, minorities to be inspired by it. He got more younger people to watch it. He got more younger people to play and care about the sport. Caitlin Clark got men to watch. Holy shit, she's shooting from where? Because I can't do that. And she became a sensation. She got drafted number one. They sold out of season tickets. Her jersey was selling out, and they're still Like they had to stop selling in the moment. Now they reprint. Now they're starting to reprint again. The ratings for all the games. She's going to be very Messi-like. Every WNBA arena she goes to, it's going to be sold out. It's pretty cool. I don't know how far this will go. I don't know how much this will build for women's, basketball. I hope it continues. I hope there's another electrifying player in college coming up and kind of, continues that, because I'm old enough to remember when NBA basketball was dog shit in the 70s. And I heard Magic Johnson say something the other day that I did not realize it myself. But Magic and Bird not only brought the NBA back, but actually they probably did bring March, the madness to March. Because what Bird and Magic did for us as basketball fans, they took basketball to another level. College and the NBA, because the storyline was there. And so transcendental athletes are a rarity. And they do things that are generational. And they change the way people look at things. Right? We now look baseball differently with Ohtani. With Babe Ruth, it almost became a myth. It was a legend that became myth. Well, Babe Ruth pitched and hit. And people would whip that shit at you for 100 years. All of a sudden, now we got like a real guy. Not a part-timer like Babe Ruth was. Because if you really look at it, he pitched, then he became a hitter, and he became less of a pitcher, and then they eliminated all, and he was a hitter. This guy's a hitter and a pitcher. All at once. All the time. Maybe not this year because he's recovering, but you know what I mean. Transcendental players are impressive. And golf is in the middle of trying to find one to lift their sport, because their sport is so broken and multiple leagues, and it's a disaster in a way, even though it's bringing in money and all that, but it's not really where it was, because it doesn't have that transcendental athlete, which the WNBA has had a lot of great players, but not one of them reached men until Caitlin Clark. So they found their athlete that now opens a door, and now more people that watched her in college are going to transfer over to the WNBA. And then that her presence will open it up for others. And now besides her, you'll get to learn about the other players and some of the other really good ones. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool how one storyline lacks that transcendental athlete to kind of lift it back up again. Meanwhile, the other sport finally found theirs. That is really elevating it. It's a really interesting storyline. But I thought it was funny when she said, well, he doesn't have a lot of personality. I'm like, did you watch Tiger? It's about the talent, man. You need the guy that's going to go out there and dominate the course a lot. They don't have that guy. That guy doesn't exist right now. That woman exists. Scotty Scheffler has been on a roll these last 2 years to win the 2 green jackets at 27. Just won the Masters, a clear favorite, which usually never happens. Again, how many other tournaments has he won? How many other Grand Slams? Or majors, I'm sorry. That's how they call it there. How many others? You know what I mean? So, anyway, Charlie Woods is the next face of golf when he practices. All the cameras are there. Manufacturing. Can't manufacture it. It's got to play out. It's got to happen. Can't manufacture it. It's a problem with golf. They keep reaching. Let it happen, dude. The phenom will come out of nowhere, and you just will not stop the wave. Has not happened for golf. And it isn't Scotty Scheffler. Let's see. Golf is slipping faster in popularity than baseball. Yeah. Golf courses have closed all over the country. Again, that star is not there. You know? So it would help. It would also help the WNBA if those same women who watch the NBA religiously, well, women suck. Forget about that, dude. I've come to that realization. Women are, when it comes to women's sports, it's a joke. Put it that way. It's a joke how women are terrible at supporting their own. It's insulting to women how bad women are at supporting their own. They'll go to men's sports left and right, but you can't drag them to a NSWL, right? The women's soccer league, or NWSL, National Women's Soccer League, right? Or a WNBA game. Pre Caitlin Clark, by the way. You know, it's not someone. Well, I've been going now. Yeah, sure. Phony. The hell out of here with that shit. Women are terrible. They do not support their own. It's when women's soccer gets all those ratings, that's because the men got behind it. And when women's basketball now, it's because men got behind it. Because they're the difference makers. When there's more women than men. You could make women's sports super popular and super strong just by going and support your own. But you don't. So, just in case, because I know some women might get mad at that, but sorry, those are the facts. Let's get to some birthdays today. Why don't we? First of all, Chance the Rapper. Born today. Let's see. Akon. Born on this date in 1973. Selena, rest in peace, was born on this date in 1971. David Pinner, singer for Soul Asylum, 1964. Celebrating a birthday today. Let's see. John Bentley, bassist for Squeeze, born in 51. Bull Spooner, guitars for The Tubes, born in 1949. Jerry Rafferty, Baker Street, Scottish singer, born in 1947. Dusty Springfield, born in 1939 on this date. Bobby Vinton, 1935 on this date. And there you go. Those are musicians born on this date. Let me see if I could give you some. Martin Lawrence is 59. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is 77. This one has their ages. The other one just has the year they were born, so you'll have to do the math on your own. Let's see. Nate Diaz, MMA fighter, is 39. And I think that's it. You got any wrestlers today? Usually you may have a wrestler or two. No? Looks like it. No wrestlers? Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. Let us put some boom in it. He's trying to open up the mic.
All right. We've got George the Animal Steel, who is a very smart gentleman. Vicky Guerrero, Paul London, and Mia Yim, which is now Mitchin in WWE.
Okay. There you go.
Birthdays for today.
Celebrating birthdays today. How about that? Let's see. Wednesday, Heat, 7-10. Sixers are favored by 4. Over and unders 207. Money line, Heat plus 150. Sixers minus 180. I think the Sixers are going to win. I hope I'm wrong, dude. Really, I do. I hope I'm wrong. Pelicans, by the way, are favored by 1 against the Lakers tonight. 223.5 is the over and under. And it's an even. It's a minus 110 on the money line for both of them. At 10 o'clock, Warriors and Kings. Warriors are favored by 2.5. The over and under is 224. Kings are plus 120 on the money line. The Warriors are minus 142. And we got Jordan Hicks and Ryan Weathers on the mound for the Marlins. By the way, let me settle something for you Marlins fans or whatever you want to call yourselves. Out of curiosity, Sean, what'd you think of the Max Meyer conversations? Kid's coming off injury, so they're kind of limiting his innings. So I was sending him back to the minors. Do you think that's really a big deal in the end? No, right? I've never seen like people going back and forth of, well, no, they keep him up, or yeah, they're a cheap organization and maybe they don't want him to get enough innings to get freer from his contract, or maybe they're pacing him since he's been injury prone. But either way, whether Max Meyer is here or not, and just because he's had a couple of decent outings doesn't mean it's going to continue. And the other thing is, doesn't mean they're going to win. So whether you have Max Meyer in the minors or in the majors, the Marlins still will suck. You do understand that, right? You get that, right? The Marlins are going to suck no matter what. I mean, it's money in the bank. It's one of the most useless discussions I've seen on social media. Well, I don't know where the top went. Find it later. Just kind of crazy. Anyway. I believe the WNBA can succeed if they implement some WWF tactics. And if a woman complains, you throw her out of the league. Yeah, this guy's not very smart. Looks like that's one guy that we may have to just like skip his posts. R.I.P. Ken Holtzman, pitcher who won 3 World Series with the 70s Oakland A's. That was a hell of a team. So I so agree with you about Caitlin Clark. It's interesting, it really is. The Caitlin Clark effect is just strong, dude. By the way, did you see what Tesla did? Remember I told you about when my daughter, when she finally got her car, she went to Toyota of Hollywood and got a great car and great service, and She saw like 100 Corollas and she got to pick the one she wanted and all that stuff, right? But I told you about her experience because first she wanted a Tesla. And, listen, man, you could guide a horse to water, but they got to be able to drink it, right? So she wanted a Tesla, and I said, okay, fine. So I went with her. Remember, I explained to you how impersonal it was, how nobody took care of you. It was like, you're here, you register, and, oh, here's your name. Oh, okay, your car's in that slot. So remember I told you about that, and the slot, and the car was damaged. It had some damage, and it had paint on it from another car, white paint on a red car. So we wanted to exchange it for another car that we saw on the lot, exactly the same, but in perfect shape. They couldn't do it because the VIN number was already tied to her loan. Dumbest thing in the world. She's a teacher, so it was in the teachers union, yada, yada, all that crap. And so they couldn't do it. And so my daughter got pissed. Like, how am I going to buy a brand new car and take it to the shop? And they couldn't help us because there's no customer service there at all at Tesla. None. You're just a number. You're just an object, right? So they're laying off 10% of their employees, right? So Tesla workers, they didn't get anybody to, bring them in the office, explain what's going on, nothing. All they did was they got an email. And it says, in the email, it says, "Dear employee, today we're sharing a significant decision that impacts the entire organization and you directly. The $505.99 billion corporation that went to the highlight in its rapid growth with multiple factories scaling around the globe, which meant that there had been multiple instances where different employees had similar roles or responsibility. Tesla went on to emphasize the importance of cost reduction and increasing productivity for the company's next phase, inevitably resulting in reducing its headcount globally. Unfortunately, as a result, your position has been eliminated by this restructuring," the email concluded. That's it. That's how you got fired. Some people went to the offices, didn't know, and their cards weren't working. Some people tried to log on, they were blocked out. Not told anything. It's after they find out. It's because this guy is not a people person, And I don't know. I hate to put it. I hate to do this. I don't know if it has to do with his Asperger's or whatever condition he has, but he has built a company that has no connections to human beings whatsoever. And it doesn't matter if you're a customer or you're an employee. You're just a number to him. You know what I'm saying? And so there's no real connection. And you're not really valued. You're just used to a certain point until you're no longer needed. And then they just dispatch you. You're out of here. And if you bought our car, well, here's your car. In that slot, that's the car you get. No service, no. Like, my daughter had like a salesperson next to her at Toyota of Hollywood, at her beck and call, everything she wanted. Any question? She didn't like this about that. Okay, let's go look at this one. This one doesn't have those seats. That one has the sports package. This one doesn't. Whatever it is. What do we have to do to make you happy? You know what I'm saying? Service. Attention to detail. They provide that there, not at Tesla. It's crazy, dude. You go to Toyota Hollywood, there's this beautiful lounge, there's restaurants, you can relax. They'll bring you coffee, they'll bring you water while you're waiting. Oh, you need a soda, here you go. I mean, first class, They do things the right way. And you go to Tesla and then you read this story about them laying off people, and it's just, they just don't care about the human being. Truly amazing. Truly amazing. Anyway, let's talk a little music history on this date. In 1993, David Lee Roth was busted by the police after allegedly buying a $10 bag of marijuana in New York, Washington's Square Park. In 1964, the Rolling Stones' self-titled album came out in the UK. 2 weeks later, it would top the British charts. In 1995, Bob Seger became a dad again when his wife gave birth to his first daughter. They named her Samantha Char. In 1972, ELO, Electric Light Orchestra, made their debut at London's The Fox and Greyhound. In 2005, in a poll by UK TV station Channel 4, Radiohead's OK Computer was voted best album of all time. U2 took second place with The Joshua Tree, followed by Nirvana's Nevermind. There you go. I love Radiohead, but I could never put Radiohead in front of U2. In no way, shape, or form, any album, whatever. Can't do it. Sorry. Scumbag move by Musco, but it's kind of like what their MO is. Just don't give a shit about people, dude. No connection. So, it's kind of like, that's why I told you about my daughter's experience. And, I would never give the guy business. After all this stuff that I've seen, I'm kind of like, yeah, that's not the way you go about treating people or business, or I'm not about that. Sorry. And listen, I've never had a problem with the Toyota or with an Acura in my life. So those cars are the ones that have been in my family here for the last 20 years. And I don't mind rotating those kind of cars. I have no problem, so it's probably the RZX is probably going to be my next car, which is the electric Acura. If everything goes well, hopefully by the early next year, I'll be able to get my new car. I swear if we get another Dame to Miami this offseason, you might get the talk at least. I don't know if they'll do the move this time around, because I would not give up nearly as much anymore now. And I'm certainly not giving up Jaquez or Jovic. I'm building on those guys because I know Jimmy's done. And especially if we don't have a good offseason, if we don't have a good postseason, then for sure Jimmy's done. It's been proven. So you really just got to get through these next 2 years. You cannot tie yourself down to more bad salaries. You cannot. You need to clear yourself out of this. You need to get liquid again and give yourself some, and develop the guys you do have. And that's it, bro. They'll still make the playoffs. They just won't be a championship caliber team, but that's fine, man. We've had a lot of success here. You got to sometimes, bite the bullet and take a step back. We've had a beautiful 4 years, man. I hope it continues. I shouldn't say like it's over yet, even though I don't give them a lot of hope for this run here. But they've proven us wrong for 4 years with the kind of the kind of run that they've had. It's been crazy. 3 out of the 4 years have been just absolutely beautiful. It couldn't have been any better. Let's see. Where is Bitcoin, by the way? It's right at 62,000. It is a beautiful dip, and I keep telling you all, not a financial advisor, but you're going to regret if you didn't take advantage of this dip. That's all I'm going to say. You're going to regret it. You're going to go, damn, I should have bought more. Let's see what else. It's a dog eat dog world. Yes, it is. Big O, I had to jump into a meeting, so I'm about a half hour behind in Chicago. The train is called the L for Elevated Train System. There you go, the L train. That's it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Oh, watch Greer trade Tyreek in the draft and get a boatload. Nah, won't happen. He has too much baggage right now. He has to be a year of being a good boy for you to trade him. And then maybe you'll get something. Instead of cutting him, you can trade him somewhere. But outside of that, I don't think so. I don't think you'll get much for him in return because of the baggage now. I'm just being honest, dude. You know? I really hope that Tyreek figures this out and behaves and grows up finally, because he has failed to grow up for a long, long time. All right, folks, we're out of here. We thank David Furones. We thank Manny Navarro. And, of course, we thank the man, the myth, the legend. Yes, sir. Sean Stanley, the man who masters this entire platform every single day. We'll see you all tomorrow morning, same time, same place, same bat channel.